I have been married to my partner for 41 years. We are close because our families were together during the war. We had a few storms, but mostly we just enjoyed the warmth of a happy life as childhood friends who fell in love and stayed together. Then something shocking happened. His unusual cancer, which we tried to treat but failed, made him a tough opponent at age 65. No matter how hard we tried to treat the cancer with everything we had, it kept spreading. We finally had no choice but to hold on to every moment of his life and love him so deeply that it would last until he died. I can still hear his last words as he spoke softly from his bedside as his family gathered around him. He told me he was going home and promised we would see each other again. I could tell he was leaving when his hand went limp in my grip, as the doctor took his body out of sight, leaving me to deal with the void his absence caused. The mood became more sad. I was so upset that night that I yelled against fate and asked why my love had been taken away from me. I could not stop crying, and all I could see was darkness. As my despair got stronger, I had less food and energy, and the days became cloudy with sadness. It was harder for me to spend time with other people because of the emotions that were driving us crazy. Once in a while, a small amount of courage pushed me outside to the park, where we used to go to relax with each other. I always felt like I was walking on a thick layer of loss. As I got closer to our favorite spot by the lake, the ghost figure showed up and then vanished, leaving me alone and confused. Desperation pulled at my heart, making the pain of being alone worse. The impact sent a sharp pain through my chest. There was darkness all around me, and then a bright light pushed me forward. Because of the strong love, I gave in to its pull and went through a path I didn't know about. All around me, voices, including mine, repeated, making the times of anger and pain seem eerily real again. After the noise stopped, I asked God to forgive me because I knew what I had said was terrible. In that holy place, I felt better after giving up, letting go of my anger, and taking the gift of forgiveness. I got out of my misery with more energy because I had faith again that love and forgiveness could heal even the deepest hurts. I was standing in the bright light of a huge chair and shaking. The light was making it hard for me to see. When my eyes finally adjusted, the person on the chair spoke and thanked me for all the anger I had shown. I couldn't say anything until I blamed God of taking my husband away from me. I was so scared. Still feeling the pain of losing him, I begged. He was my everything. When I heard the surprise answer, it cut right through my pain. It revealed the deep reason for his departure. He had achieved his earthly goals, was what happened. His greatest wish was to love and be loved by you, to build a life intertwined with yours. I was shocked, so I asked him if he was close. Hearing the answer was yes gave me a rush of hope, and I began to long to see him again. On a trip through the heavens led by God, I saw scenes of unmatched peace and beauty. With each step, heaven was shown to be a place where every soul has found its place. In the middle of all that beauty, there was a spot set aside just for us that felt like home. As I moved closer to my sweetheart, I wished for his comforting hug. His confused look turned to recognition as our spirits met again. He asked me, "Why are you here?" in a severe but kind way, begging me to return to normal life. I started crying when I talked about how much I wanted them and how much it hurt to be apart. Even though he said them with gentle firmness, they gave me comfort and faith. His love for me knew no limits until he died. He told me, "Our children need you. We will be reunited, for eternity awaits." When I became aware again, I saw a park guard offering help. I was back by the calm water of the earthly lake. Time was going by so fast. It seemed like just a blink in the far future, that I was lost in thought. It took a few months, but every day I started to feel a little more normal again. It helped that I knew we would see each other again on the other side of the wall. We've had a rough road together, but I still hold on to the hope that one day I'll meet my true love again. A love that doesn't change. Story number 2. He died, and what he saw at the gates of heaven, he saw again. Ever since I was a kid, my biggest dream was to play soccer. I used to kick the ball around for hours on end, wishing I could be a major league player. Sadly, life doesn't always go as planned. 12 years old, a knee accident ended that dream. In spite of how hard it was, I had to accept that I would no longer be able to play soccer. Hearing him talk, I knew what my life was really about. He smiled and nodded at me. I had to return to Earth to finish my journey. He told me that he would help me if I prayed to him. Both he and the angel went away. I saw something strange in the dark as I got ready to leave again. Their eyes were very bright. There were 2 stars in the dark. When eyes looked at me, I knew I wasn't the only one. Even with everything going on, I felt brave and hopeful. I knew that Jesus was always with me. I felt my beating when I got back to my body. When I got back, I was scared and confused because I had no idea what had happened. I felt lost and alone because my mom didn't believe me. Since I knew what I was going through, I thought that God was always watching over me and would help me. This link hurt me a lot, but I knew I had to keep going. Once my scars on the inside healed, God restored my faith in marriage and love. I liked a guy a lot. I wasn't sure if I should stay with him or not. He was accepted by me after he told me how he felt. We quickly got married. We had our first child soon after. It made me happy that God had given me the gift of motherhood. Our second child was born in 2012. I didn't believe in God, but he was still watching over me. He helped me get through tough times and get better. I'm thankful for how this journey and God have changed me. I got severe arthritis in my leg, which made even the simplest tasks unbearable for me. I tried a lot of different treatments to feel better, but nothing worked. During my physical pain, I prayed and read the Bible a lot to feel better and find my way. When my doctor finally said surgery was the last option, it was time to do something. I asked my friends, family, and people at church to pray for me and be there for me. Despite my worries, I was surprisingly calm on the day of the process. As the sedation worked, it felt like my body and mind were drifting apart. As I float above the surgery room, I could see the chaos below without being involved. Even though everyone in the room was in a hurry, I felt calm. As I walked through the hospital halls, I saw a doctor I knew who was busy with his work. A short time later, our tracks crossed, but then I felt pulled forward. As I flew higher above the city, I could feel the wind rushing against my airy body. I felt like the seasons were mixing as I traveled further, taking me to a bright light that called to me. I went to a beautiful dreamlike world where I met loved ones who had died. Their presence could be felt even though they were only in spirit form. Being surrounded by bright plants and a calm river made me feel very connected and like I belonged. Unfortunately, that wasn't the end of my search. Under the guidance of a mysterious teacher, I made my way to a huge building that housed an impressive library full of endless knowledge. I saw how this life was like my old life and how my acts had affected other people. I felt bad about my mistakes, even though I thought no one was judging me. As I looked ahead, I caught a peek of the path that lay ahead, which was not clear but looked good. When I reached the fork in the road, I understood I had to make a choice. I could either embrace the unknown or return to Earth. The deep and humble things I learned on the journey gave me a new view of how complicated life is. While my body was on the operating table in the hospital, my mind went to different places. While my wife and the surgeon talked, I saw my child wait tensely in the hallway. I could feel their love and care even though I couldn't hear what they were saying. In the midst of the chaos of the hospital, the prayers of family and friends came to me as otherworldly notes, reaching out to me like guiding lights. My memories came back to me. When I was young, I cried out for my grandfather's life, but all I heard was silence and the pain of loss. When I thought about leaving my own kids behind, it was clear I had to go back. They told me that the memories of my trip would fade over time, but I knew that they would still have an impact on me in ways I couldn't quite explain. As I woke up in the hospital bed, surrounded by my loved ones, I held on to the promise of a divine mission. As the weeks went by, I moved through the hospital hallways from the general ward, which I didn't know, to the intensive care unit, ICU, which was very scary. I was always grateful and determined. I was meant to be here, and I would take every chance to get better. In the beginning, I didn't want to tell my family about how hard my trip was because I wanted to keep the experience close to my heart. But after getting better and going home, I knew it was time to tell my wife. When I told her about my out-of-body experience, she seemed surprised, especially when she told me about seeing the strange doctor in the hallway, which I had also seen. The event was very moving and strengthened the mysterious link that had helped me through my surgery and healing. I felt safe and supported being with the doctor who had unintentionally played a big role in my trip. His kindness and care reminded me of the love from heaven that had been surrounding me during those weeks that changed my life. After my body died, the memories of my adventure lived on. This shows the lasting power of faith and the mysterious ways that our lives are linked.